What's going on YouTube? I am back working on the Mustang and I need to change the pushrod guide plates, so stick around. Now, I'm not going to waste time. I'm just going to talk about the car while I work on it, but I'll show you what needs to be done. These valve covers are going to come off and the pushrod guide plates are going to get changed. I may or may not have to pull the motor through by hand. We will see how that goes, but I'm going to start by getting the valve covers off. I'm going to do one side at a time. I got the battery on a charger, and then, like I said, I'm going to start swapping these guide plates. So I'll tell you what happened. Once upon a time, Bryce was a dumb teenager. What? No way. Anyways, once upon a time, I was a dumb teenager. Hang on. And I was working at an organic farm, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I went cheap on some of the parts. And some of the parts that I went cheap on were the pushrod guide plates and the pushrod or the rocker arms themselves. So my rocker arms are Pro Comp, and so are my pushrod guide plates. Now, I don't think that's the same Pro Comp that's around today. It's also a Pro Comp distributor. I think it's a different brand. Doesn't matter, or it's been bought and revamped. I don't know. But long story short, they weren't very good quality. They weren't large enough, so I used a file to open them up. The rocker arms weren't perfectly centered, so now I've got some nice Comp Cam 3/8 ones. The ones I got were 5/16. That's kind of on me because I was a dumb teenager. I never sent anything back. I was just like, oh well, this will work, whatever, and I stuck it in. So like I said, let's get to work. Now, I do think that this goes, hang on, there we go, without saying, your rocker arm or your valve covers should not be crazy tight. They don't have to be. They're a cork gasket. The cork gasket does cork gasket things. So really all it is just a nice little snug, and they're good. But like I said, I'm going to get this one off, and once this one is off, I will show you the valve train. Try not to scratch all this new stuff up. I don't like that air cleaner. It's an Amazon air cleaner. It was cheap. I was trying to get ready for an car show, but it doesn't flow as good as the Edelbrock air cleaner, so I might get another Edelbrock air cleaner and just paint it black, because I'd rather have the performance over the aesthetic, personally. I don't know. I might leave it. We'll see. I'm also going to start running the car on avgas again. I ran it on 98 or 93 octane with an octane booster, and it ran okay. I've always liked having the car on avgas because it runs 10 times better. So let's get this off. Now here is an up close at the problem. If you look at this rocker arm, you can tell that it is crooked, and if you look right here, I know my camera doesn't zoom very well, you can see where the push rod is riding up against the pushrod guide and trying to eat its way out. So these new pushrod guides should solve. Let's go ahead and get these off. This kind of goes without saying. Take your time when you do this. Make sure each cylinder is on top dead center. Work your way slowly but surely until it's completely off. What else? Make sure you put the nuts back where the nuts were. Aha. Make sure you put the rocker arms back where the rocker arms were. Make sure you don't, basically you don't want to put the exhaust rocker arm on the intake rocker arm. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because that exhaust rocker arm has worn in to the stem of the exhaust valve. So if you move it over the intake side, you're changing the grooves and the wear, and you're running the risk of making things worse. Now this car is kind of weird. It has GT40 351 Windsor heads on it. So because of that, the deck height is a little bit different, and it's got some Chrysler push rods in it. I just happen to know that they're Chrysler, that's why they're 3/8, but you order what you order to make it work. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this whole assembly and put it here. There is exhaust. Get this one off of here. I do have some Loctite over there, so when I put these bolts back on, I'm going to make sure to put a little bit of red Loctite on them. Like I said, set this here. I really hope they're the same size, because that would be the tits. Yes, they're the same size. All right. There's that one. There is that one. You know what this means. As I get these changed, it's going to be ready for a hype video. Yes, you heard me right. tight because I actually absolutely love this car. Oh, that's full of coolant. What the hell? I'm gonna drain the coolant. I was not ready for that. So, I don't know if you saw that or not, but yes, coolant went everywhere. So as I go back together, I'm gonna put a little bit of red Loctite. That's not working. Okay, I got the Loctite doing Loctite things. I'm using red because I don't want it to come loose. So put the first one in. I want to research the torques on these here in just a second. There is that one. There is that one. I'm going to edit some of this out.
What you're about to hear is me absolutely obliterating my knee on one of the poles inside my barn.
Turn that off. Oh! All right, we're going to tighten this one down. First, the torque for these is 25. Nice. Nice. This is going so well. There's one. There is the other one. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. God damn. All right. That's that. Goodbye, contact cleaner. This was the intake. Put it on first, and then I'll get that cleaned out. Well, these have got self-locker on them, so I'll just let it ride. This is really weird, but it's Ford things. So what you need to do now is dry your fingers, and then you want to take a socket and run this down. Depending on the Ford you have, you may or may not have this style. If you don't, count yourself lucky. This is a stud rocker, and honestly, the reason I want trick flow heads for this thing. So what you want to do is you want to tighten this nut down with it on top dead center until you just can barely rotate the push rod, until you have some resistance in the push rod. And then what you do is you take this and you're going to go 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. I'm just going to do a half for now, and if I need to tighten them later, I will. And you want to make sure they're about the same on each rocker arm. Mine look like they are. I added a 1/4 turn to that one. Okay, so that should be good to go. It's now going to be rinse and repeat for the rest of them. Find top dead center, pull them, rotate the engine, do whatever you got to do. I'm not going to film it 7 more times. That is the Mustang done. I have to put the valve covers back on. I'm gonna go ahead and burp the coolant system. Might take it for a little drive around the neighborhood just to make sure everything's still peachy keen. It got a little messy. Some oil squirted out of there. It happens, but very similar to Tom's Refurb, who's kind of one of my new guilty pleasures on YouTube. He also has a 67 Mustang named Noise Complaint, and I doubt he'll ever see this. He inspired me to get this shit running again because, like him, I have an interesting relationship with this car where I drive it, I beat the crap out of it, I break it, and then it sits for months or years on end, and then I fix everything and I drive it and I beat it, and break it again. And I'm hoping that this time I've kind of got everything resolved. And I'm gonna try not to beat on it too hard because I don't want it to break for a little while. I want to at least enjoy it for a season before I continue to do work on it. So more on this in the future, but that's all I'm going to do for this video. I don't really have time to film anything else. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you leave us a like, leave us a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, go build something and be easy.